She's a part of the assembly line. She's making history, working for victory. Rosie, the riveter, keeps the shop.
So what happens next? Well, not a lot of good for the Allies. Hitler has been mobilizing throughout the 1930s. The Allies have not. So Hitler is going to finally test out his Blitz strategy. The Blitzkrieg, lightning war. Lightning warfare. This is a relentless onslaught of soldiers, tanks, and air support with a little help from methamphetamines to continuously fight and conquer. Hitler's going to walk away from this early fight. He will take Denmark. He will take Norway. And big important one here is he's going to take France. Now there's a lot of other countries in the middle there on his way to France, but Hitler is essentially, he's going to, France has a sort of defensive line built here after World War I, and the Blitzkrieg strategy is just to go around it and push through into France. They're going to conquer Paris, and they are going to have the British retreat. So by 1940, the world is in a very different situation by 1940. By 1940, the Blitz has succeeded. Hitler has successfully conquered France. The British have retreated across the English Channel. All of these parts of Europe have been conquered. And to make things official, we get the Tripartite Pact. The Tripartite Pact. This is going to create the Axis powers. This is going to be the official, legally binding agreement between Germany, Italy, and Japan. They are all going to sign an agreement saying we are all each other's allies. One declaration of war against us is a declaration of war against all of us. When does this start to matter for U.S. history? Well, it's about to. After the 1940 switcheroo of boundaries and territories, the U.S. has several different responses. So, U.S. responses. Remember, we are in the midst here of pretending to be isolationists, pretending to be neutral, but we also have a Great Depression to worry about. FDR is trying to get the New Deal to save the country, so we don't have a lot of spare time or resources to care about the problems of the rest of the world, so our responses vary for a bit of a time here. Early on in the 30s, we're going to have, so from 1939 to 1940, we're going to have something called cash and carry, which is much like in World War I. We were selling weapons to all of the countries that we're fighting. Again, we're going to say, come get some weapons from us. As long as you come get them yourself and carry them away and you pay cash up front, you can have weapons. However, we also are going to institute a draft. Okay, a draft during peacetime. This is a very historic moment. We are creating a large army without officially being in war. This is for the purposes of defense. FDR really wants to help out the rest of the world. He wants to, in his words, create an arsenal for democracy. But he's in a battle with Congress over this concept. Congress does not want to intervene, so he has to make deals and negotiate. The best he can get at this time is selling weapons, drafting an army, and building up the Navy, modernizing the Navy. He wants newer ships, better ships. On the surface, this is for self-defense, scare away Japan and the other Axis powers from actually fighting us directly. But beneath the surface, it's getting ready for eventually joining the fight. FDR knows we're eventually going to have to do it. He wants to be ready for when we do. FDR wants to be ready for when the war does eventually come to America. From 1940 to 1941, we see a shift in our version of neutrality. Now that the world has been divided and conquered by the Axis powers, there's a very real threat, and FDR is going to win some support for his ideas. So, big change comes when we get Lend-Lease. Okay, we go from cash and carry to Lend-Lease. Okay, cash and carry was anyone can come buy stuff as long as they have cash and they take it away themselves. Lend-Lease is, hey, if England wants weapons or ships, we will let them borrow them. They can pay us whenever, and we will deliver it to them because they're in the middle of a fight for their survival as a country. This is a big, big change. Big change. So if we were comparing and contrasting World War II's context here, cash and carry is very different from Lend-Lease. Because we are going to be transporting our weapons to allies like England and China, we're traveling through war zones. And remember, that did not work out well for us in World War I. The Lusitania gets sank. So we have new orders for our ships to shoot on sight. This is an official policy for U.S. ships for self-defense, but it kind of in actuality makes us a part of this fight, makes us soldiers in this fight. We're also going to have an agreement with England called the Atlantic Charter. And the Atlantic Charter is going to be a sort of goal between FDR and England. Winston Churchill. Churchill and Roosevelt are going to come up with a plan for if we were to start fighting together. What's our end goal here? So this is our U.S., UK goals. Then we get some very interesting stuff here in 1941. I'll put them in red because they're very important. We are going to have a steel and iron ban. Okay. We are going to have a credit freeze. And we're going to have an oil embargo. Now, all three of these things are against Japan. Now, why? Because Japan is the closest threat to us. Japan has been taking advantage of the cash and carry and Lend-Lease. We are going to see in 1940 that they sign on the Tripartite Pact, and officially, as enemies of our good friend England, now it's official, FDR has the political leeway in Congress to really start trying to cut off the supply of the militarist machine in Japan. No more metal to them, no more credit, that means money supply, and of course no more oil. 1941, we're going to knock out all of this stuff to Japan, and I think you see where this is going now. Okay, so in 1941, I'll just write this in red the entire time because the whole thing's important. 1941, in response to all of our anti-Japan measures, we get Pearl Harbor, December 7th, a day that will live in infamy. This is going to lead FDR to get a declaration of war on December 11th. Okay, Congress will declare war on Japan, and because they are allies with Germany and Italy, this is going to bring us into the World War. Now, one more important thing happens in 1941. This is important thing number one. This is important thing number two. Hitler is going to invade the Soviet Union. Okay, this is something called Operation Barbarossa. Operation Barbarossa. The Soviet Union is going to be invaded by Hitler and the Axis powers. This is a violation of their non-aggression pact, which means World War II officially has a new group of allies. Okay? By 1942, I'll put this in a different color. By 1942, we have a new group of allies. England, the United States, and the Soviet Union. This is our group of good guys. Good guys. I'll put that even here. I'll put that here. This is our group of good guys for this new war. Okay, so that is context for World War II. By 1942, the United States is in this war. The rest of our videos will go through this war in terms of what's most important for you moving forward, looking ahead to possible SAQ questions on the new AP exams. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was a good refresher for you guys. Remember, these videos are not replacements to textbook readings or Google Classroom assignments, so stay up to date with those. Reach out to me if you have any questions, either on Twitter or in Google Classroom or the school email, or comment down below. If you have any questions specifically about things you want to see covered, or concepts you want to make sure we go over again, maybe even in a video format, leave an idea down below in a comment. Let me know. I'll see y'all next time.